Hi, welcome to Hire Purchase Agreement. So basically, this is how this works. Before we get to questions and before I get to explain what you see on the screen, let me just give you a bit of a background. So let's say you go to someday you decide to wake up and you go to a car dealership. Now you need to understand that hire purchase works with huge items. I don't want you, after explaining this, now you're going to your local tuck shop and you would like to have their bread with a hire purchase agreement. No, don't do that. That's not how things work. So let's say you see a car, a beautiful car, a car of your dreams that you'd like to own, but the problem is that you do not have the money of your dreams so that you can buy the car. Now, what would you do in that case? Well, it's just two things that you can do, right? It's either you can leave the car of your dreams until you have the money of your dreams to buy the car, or secondly, you can go to a financing company or a bank. Now, when you get there, you see a beautiful administrator sitting there and you go to them exactly and you tell them that, guess what? I just came from that particular street behind and I saw a car of my dreams. And they're like, what? You're like, yes, I just saw it. And like, okay. You're like, but I can afford it. They're like, you know what? You've come to the right place. Let's assist you with that. Like, they give you some 3 documents that have 2 different options. Some have residual values, some do not, some have deposits, some do not, different percentages, different monthly installments, of which it's everything that we're going to explain here. And they're like, you know what? Here, which one would you like to have? Or which one will you choose? You choose option A. By choosing option A, what you have done here is this. The bank is going to go, or that finance company is going to go and purchase the car in full from the dealer. And they are going to allow you the car. You, when you are paying, you are no longer paying the car dealership. You are essentially paying the bank or the finance company. So that's how that works. Now, I wanted to get that out of the way so that you can understand how these hire purchase agreement, they work. Because essentially, you're no longer paying the car dealership. You are paying the bank because the bank bought the car for you. So if this was you, let's say this is you wanting the car of your dreams, and you are now paying the bank. And the reason why you are paying the bank or the financing company, it's because the bank has paid the car dealership for that particular car of your dreams. So that's how this works. Now, let's get to it. Hire purchase, there are a lot of definitions, but in essence, it's an agreement where the buyer can pay for an item through installments. Like we were saying, you get to own that particular vehicle, or you get to own that particular car, you get to use it. Let's say you get to use that particular vehicle, or you get to use that particular house, but you have not paid for it in full. Yet monthly, you can pay for it continuously in installment until the last payment. So it's an agreement where the buyer can pay for an item through installments. Now, what is residual value? So you must have seen this somewhere with regards to hire purchase. Residual value is a large lump sum due at the end of a loan. Now, this can also be called balloon payment. Surely you must have seen this and you must be asking yourself, what is a balloon payment? So let me make an example here. So one thing also you need to understand, other hire purchase agreements have deposits, others do not, and you will see how we go about that. But also with regards to deposit, you must understand that deposit is calculated on the cash price, or rather the retail price. That's important. So a deposit, which is most of the time it's given as a percentage, is calculated on the cash price or on the retail price. Now, residual value, it's a balloon payment. But how does it work? What's a balloon payment? Why are they even calling it a balloon payment? Well, this is why. So you are going to pay installments for, let's say, 2 years, but you're paying them monthly. So 2 years in the monthly, another important thing that you should note down, you need to be able to convert years to months. That's important. And to do that, remember we have 12 months in a year. So if you were given 3 years, 3 years would equal, so 3 years, you would say that it's 3 multiplied by 12, and then you can go to the calculator, but it will have to equal 36 months. So that's how it works. So let's get our calculator ready. Either way, it will be working. So 3 multiplied by 12, it's 36 months. You need to be able to convert years to months, because some terms are going to come in years, but since the installments are monthly, you need to be able to convert that. So you have taken out a loan, and we said that for this particular hire purchase, you are supposed to pay it over the period of 2 years. 2 years, which account to 24 months. 24 months. If there is a balloon payment, or if there is a residual value, now let's say that your monthly installments, it's 1,000. You are paying 1,000 a month. If there is a balloon payment involved, or if there is a residual value involved, this is how this would work. So now you are going to pay 1,000. You are not going to pay 1,000 for the whole period of 24 months. No. If there is a balloon payment or a residual value that is involved, you are only going to pay 1,000 for 23 months. Why are you paying it only for 23 months? It's because you have agreed to something called a residual value. Residual as in something that is remaining, as in something that is left. Having paid for the 23 months, the 1,000, there will be some value that is remaining at the end, which you are supposed to pay, and we call it a balloon payment. It is a large lump sum due at the end of the loan term. So 23 months, 1,000. That last month, that's where you are supposed to pay this residual value. And because it's a huge lump sum, which is also calculated on your entire purchasing price, it could be something like 20,000. That's how it works. So what do I want you to understand with regards to residual value and balloon payment? It's this. If there is a balloon payment, the monthly installments can be paid for that particular period minus 1. So if it was 36 months that you're supposed to pay for it, if there is a balloon payment, you're not going to pay monthly installments for 36 months. No, you are going to pay monthly installments for what? For 35 months. The remaining 1 month, what are you going to be paying? Balloon payment. I hope that makes sense. It has to make sense now, because this basics plus exam type questions, we are killing 2 stones with 1 bird, or 2 birds. Anyways, why should we be killing birds with stones? That's very wrong. Anyway, let's get to questions. So Mrs. Smith would like to buy a car, but does not have the full cash amount. You see, car of your dreams, not money of your dreams, something like that. She downloaded 2 payment options for 2 different cars as shown in table 2 below. As you can see. So there's a Ford Figo, there's also a VW Polo. Now, you have to pay attention to everything that is mentioned here. The retail price, or the cash price, including VAT, for the Ford Figo, it's 215,100. It has a deposit. The monthly installment is 2,999. It also has a residual value of 30%. Remember what I said about the residual value and the deposit. The deposit is calculated on the retail price. The same thing with the residual value. The residual value as well is also calculated where? It's also calculated on the retail price. That is important. These things that I'm mentioning here, they're important. There's also a monthly admin fee not included in the monthly installment of 69 rands, and the term agreement is 72 months. Okay, VAT is already included, so can disregard that. We also have a VW Polo, which is 220,300. See, does not have a deposit. Nope, they don't need a deposit there. They are monthly installments. A residual value is not given as a percentage, so they just gave you a number. And also the monthly installment, the monthly admin fee here is given as a percentage, so you need to work that out. Also, most importantly, with regards to hire purchase, you need to be able to use percentages, of which it's not supposed to be that hard. Now let's get to questions so that we can be able to answer all these questions so that you can get even better understanding of what hire purchase agreements are all about. So the first one says that state what payment option is shown in table 2. We have already done this. So by now we know that we are looking at a hire purchase agreement. A hire purchase agreement. Now, calculate, and it's not only a hire purchase agreement, it can also be called an installment agreement. There are many ways in which it can be called, but for the particular purpose of this example, the hire purchase agreement. Now, calculate the deposit amount for the fourth figure. So this is how you use percentages. Because the fourth figure has a 5%, and by now I have taught you that deposits are calculated on what? They are calculated on the retail or the cash price. So what are we going to do here? We are simply going to say that 5% in a fractional form over 100, we multiply it by the retail price because it has to be taken from the retail price, which is 215,100. Let's go to our calculator and see what we get. So 5 over 100. And when you multiply it by 215,100, you actually get that for this particular one, they are supposed to pay a deposit which is worth and maybe you're asking yourself, there's space here, there's real estate. Why am I not using it? Well, I will use that for the questions that are to come here. So it's 10,755. So that is the deposit. Write down in simplified form the ratio of the term agreement of the fourth figure to the Polo. I have done this. And when you go to my YouTube channel, you'll understand that videos are in accordance. However, I have uploaded them, I suppose, for you to look at them in that way because I know what comes first or what is supposed to come first in mathematical literacy, and then you go and you continue like that. So we have done simplified form, we have done ratios. There is a video for ratios, a whole complete video that deals with ratios. So because it's for, always say that when you're doing ratios, you start with what they started with. So they started with a fourth figure. What is the term agreement for a fourth figure? Well, the term agreement for a fourth figure, it's here. It's 72 months. 72 months. And then you end with what they ended with, which is the term agreement for a Polo, which is 48 months. Now, how do you solve this? How do you make this simplified? And if you still do not understand ratios, go and watch that video. I said you are going to use a fraction to solve this problem. A fraction to solve this problem. At the top, you start with what you started with, which is 72. Here, you put a 48. Equal sign. The same way that they come out, that's how you put them underneath these ones. This is what I mean. So you're going to say 72 and then 48. Now let's say you called. Do you see? It says, when they come out, it says that it's 3 at the top and 2 at the bottom. Now, the same way, 3 goes with 72 and then 2 goes with 48. You are done. No thinking, no sweating. This is simplified fraction, or this is simplified form for a ratio. Now let's continue. Which one of the two vehicles will be more cost effective? So cost effective simply means which one I don't want to say cheaper, because cheaper is not a term that we would use. Cost effective simply means which one will you be paying less in terms of a monthly budget. So as you can see, it's a fourth figure because it's 2,000. This one is 3,000. So you can say there that the one that will be cost effective, it's a fourth figure. Now let's go to the question that we'll be using this real estate for. The question says, which is 2.1.5, calculate the total cost of the VW Polo if the monthly installment remained the same throughout the period, the contract period, except the final payment. Now, they didn't have to tell you this. The reason why they are telling you this, it's because they felt more lenient. Why shouldn't they have told you this? Because I have told you this before, that whenever you see something such as a residual value that is there, you will understand that you are going to pay monthly installment for, if it's 48 months, you are going to only pay them for 47 months. And that last month, what do? You pay the residual value. If it's 72 months, you pay them for 71. What do you do on that last one? You pay the residual value. Immediately you see the residual value, understand that monthly installments will only be paid for the term agreement minus 1. Why are we minusing 1? Because it's what we are supposed to use to pay for the residual value. So let's work this out. So the first thing we are talking about, a VW Polo. It's important. We are here. So we are supposed to first calculate the total value of monthly installments. So the total value of monthly installments. So let's deal with monthly installments. Here are monthly installments. So we are going to say, so here we can simply just say monthly installments. Monthly installments. So here we are going to put monthly installments. So we are going to say 3,345 multiplied by what? To multiply by 48? No, we multiply it by 47. By now you know why. Because the remaining last month we are going to pay for the residual value. So by 47, let's go to our calculator and say 3,345. When you multiply it by 47, what do you get? You actually get 157,215. Now we have calculated the total value of monthly installments. We are still using the formula, but we haven't added everything together. The second one is admin. So admin fees. So for admin fees, let's see what we have. Oh, they gave us as a percentage. Again, I told you to use a percentage is simple. What you're supposed to do, you take the percentage in a fractional form, which will be over 100. You multiply it by what you are supposed to get that percentage from. With this regard, we are supposed to get it from the monthly installment, which is 3,345. Let's see what we have. So if we say 2.08 over 100, and then you multiply it by 3,345, what do you get? You actually get 69.576. Okay, we can keep it like that. But total admin fees. This is just admin fee for a single month. How many months are we supposed to pay this admin fee? For as many months as we have paid our monthly installment. So we multiply it by, again, 47, not 48. There is a residual. Go to our calculator and just say multiply by 47. It says that we are getting 3,270.072. Done with admin fees. Now lastly, residual. Residual, we don't even have to write it unless it was the residual for a fourth figure. But for this one, okay, let's just put it here because it's given. It's 116,759. Now we can use the whole formula. So now let's use the whole formula. The formula said that the total cost is equals total value of monthly installments. That's 157,215 plus admin fees. That's 3,270.072 plus residual value, that is 116,759. What do we get? So let's cancel here. So let's say 157, 215 plus 3,270.072 plus 116,759,759. Let's see what we get. We actually get that it's going to be 277,244.072. Now I can round it off to two decimal places. We can simply say it's 277,244.07. That is the total cost. That is the total cost. If maybe we wanted to find the interest, obviously if they also asked us to calculate the total interest, we would take the total cost and would subtract the value of the car so that we can get the interest. Actually, how much more are they asking us to pay with regards to getting this in terms of a hire purchase rather than buying it straight with cash? So let's continue. Let's see what the next extract has for us. So here we have Malcolm, who is planning to buy a motor vehicle as well. The cash price of the motor vehicle is 334,000. Let's use a different color for this one. How about a blue? He considers the following payment options to finance. See what we are talking about? To finance this motor vehicle to the value of 300,000. So basically here what they are saying is that he wants to buy a car that is worth 334,000. But when he goes to a bank, he is not looking for them to buy the car for 334,000. No, he only wants a bank that can offer or assist him with 300,000. So he gets three options. Option number one, motor vehicle loan without. See what I was talking about? Some do not have a residual value. Option number one, no residual value. So if we were to calculate monthly installments, we would calculate them throughout. You pay monthly installment until the last month. Option two, motor vehicle loan with 20%. Oh, this one has a balloon payment. So you see, the balloon payment will be the 73rd payment. Because option number two, the loan period is 73 months. That means that on that 73rd, the last month, you are paying the residual. So for 72 months, what are you paying? Monthly installment. Option number three, personal loan from a bank. So this is quite a different one, because here the bank is not buying the car for you. You are just taking a loan from them. They do not even know what you want to do. Okay, they know. They should ask you such things. What do you want to buy? A car. Okay, here's a loan. So let's get down. 5.2.1, define the term interest rate. Again, I have done a video on interest, compound and simple. And the first definition there was things such as what is interest, and after that, what is an interest rate. Now, again, I'll repeat. An interest is an amount of money that you have to pay for borrowing money. An amount of money that you have to pay for borrowing money. Because you have borrowed my 1,000, if I want it back as 1,100, interest there is the 100 rand that you are paying back because you borrowed my money. I call that interest. What is interest rate? Interest rate is the percentage that is used to calculate how much you are supposed to pay for having borrowed my money. So interest rate, I can put it here, is the percentage used to calculate the amount of money, the amount of money that you must pay for borrowing money. So interest rate, we use it to calculate that 100 rand that I said I want on my 1,000. We use percentage to calculate it. In that regard would be 10%. Now, determine the difference between the monthly installment of option 1 and option 2. So we have option 1 here. We have option 2 here. Their monthly installment for option 1, it's this one, 6,000. For option 2, I told you again, whenever you hear difference, just think about this. Whenever you hear difference, just think about this. They're asking you to use a subtract, just subtract. So let's subtract the 2. So we are going to go here. I don't want us to use this real estate. We are going to use it for the questions that are following. So let's just use this space. By the way, this is not an answer for 5.2.3. No, this is just an answer for 5. Okay, let me put it here. 5.2.2. The answer is that you take 6,000.47 cents. You subtract 5,498.19. Let's see what you get. So if you come here and you say 6,000 and then 47 and you subtract 5,498.19, what actually do you get? It says you get 617.28. So that is the difference. Now, we are getting to the real estate. So 5.2.3, calculate the missing value X, the cost of the loan. They gave us a formula. See something about hire purchase, you must be excited. Usually you get a lot of formulas of how you are supposed to do those things. So the cost of a loan, we are told that we must have installments first, we must multiply them by the number of months, and then we must subtract the loan value. Let's come here and make it simple for ourselves. First of all, they said we need to have installments. So what are our installments for option 1? Because X is under option 1. Our installments is 600. First of all, let's ask ourselves, is there a residual? Because that's important. You remember, if there is a residual, you know that our monthly installments are going to be paid, but up to before the last payment or up to before the last month, because the last month is for a residual. But for us, motor vehicle loan without a residual. So this one does not have a residual. So we pay throughout until. I told you one thing you need to understand. So here they said that installments, which is installments, it's 6,115.47. They say we are supposed to multiply those installments with the number of months. What is the number of months? I told you need to be able to convert 6 years to months. We are going to say 6 multiplied by 12. What do we get? 6, when we multiply it by 12, we are going to get a 72. So it's 72 months. There is no balloon. There is no residual. We pay for that 72 months. So our installments, they are going to be 47 multiplied by 72. So let's see. Let us see. Okay, so we say that it's 6,115.47 multiplied by a 72. We are actually getting that it's a 440,313.84. What are we supposed to do to that particular amount of money? Because, okay, that is the number of the loan, apparently. Now, they are saying that we are supposed to take that and subtract the loan value. Where is the loan value? Where is the loan value? Where is the loan value? Here's the loan value. Remember, he only needs 300,000 as a loan value. So let's do this. Let's say our 440,313.84 when you subtract the loan value, which is worth 300,000, what do you get? Already here, so let's subtract 300,000. We are actually remaining with 140,313.84. So this is the cost of the loan. The cost of the loan is simply that you have borrowed from us 300,000, and whenever you're going to pay back, after you have paid everything back, you would have paid 440,313. Actually, how did this loan cost you, or how much did this loan cost you? Well, it cost you 140,313.84. That's how it works. This is the interest that actually you have paid on this particular loan. So let's go to the value of y. So the value of y is 5.2.4. Determine the missing value of y. So here it's 5.2.4. This one was 5.2.3. Determine the missing value of y. The value of y is here on option 2. You may use the formula. So to determine the total that is payable, we are supposed to have the installments multiplied by the number of months. You see now. Something has to happen here. Why does something has to happen here? Because we have option 2 motor vehicle loan with a 20% residual, which is also known as balloon payment. So because the term is 73, we are not going to be paying monthly installments for 73 months. We will pay them for 72 months. What happens to the last month? Residual. Balloon. So now you're getting the grips of this. So let's do this. Monthly installments for this one, it's so here we can say monthly installments. So monthly installments, it's, how much is it? It's 5,498.19. They say we are multiplying that by the number of months. I already told you we'll multiply it by 72. So when we multiply it by 72, let's see what we get. So if we say 5,498, okay, nope, 5,498.19, when you multiply it by 72, you actually get 395,869.68. They say you have to add a balloon payment to that, which becomes the last month. You see, this is the last month, which is given as, where is it? Oh, actually, that's why this is a 5-month question, because they didn't give us a balloon payment. They gave us the balloon payment as a percentage. I told you again, residual and deposit, where they calculated, they are actually calculated on that particular amount of the particular loan that you are getting. So now we have to make the residual. So let's come here. So okay, I'll come back here, but here I'll just write residual, and here I will say the amount of money that he needs from the bank. Remember, it's 300,000. This is a bit different from what we have done in the past. If he had needed 334, the deposit was going to be calculated on the 334, and also the residual was going to be calculated. But no, he went to the bank and he told the bank, I have 34,000 apparently. I would only I'll need you to borrow me 300,000. So everything gets calculated on this 300,000. That's why we are calculating the residual on that 300,000. So we are simply, I said, percentages, fractional them. After, multiply them by where they're supposed to be coming from. So the residual is supposed to be coming, you see here, loan value. What's the loan value? It's 300,000. So we say here, 300,000. What do we get? So let's come here. Let's say when you have 20% in a fractional form and you'd like to multiply it by 300,000, it says you get 60,000. 60,000. 60,000. So here we are going to plus, but let's not plus here. Let's not plus here because like now we are going back. See this thing of not having too much real estate, sometimes you get stuck, but it's fine. So we are supposed to say that for the total payable installments, we have multiplied it by the number of months. We got 395,869.68 plus the residual, which is 60,000. Now, what do we get? 60,000 is already here. We can simply say plus 395,869.68. So we are actually getting that the total payable is 455,869.68. This is how much particular individual is supposed to pay. Now, the last question, give one reason why banks charge more interest on a personal loan compared to a motor vehicle loan. They want your English here, but I'm going to try and assist you. The reason is simple. For a motor vehicle loan, the motor vehicle serves as, what do they call this in other subjects? Collateral. Yes. If you default, they'll come and get it. Yes, that's what they do. So, but a personal loan, maybe there are other things that serve as collateral, but here, if you default, they can come and fetch the car. So we can simply say that the motor or the car here, so the vehicle serves as a security for the loan, meaning that if you can no longer pay it back, well, why not? We are coming for it. That's why they charge less on a vehicle loan than they do on a personal loan. Now let's continue. This is the last one. Yep, it's the last one. You know, here we practice like nobody's business. Oh, we put these things in your brain until your brain starts to expand, and as it is expanding, we try to expand it even more. And as it looks like it's going to burst, we make sure that we put ice on top of it so that it doesn't burst. It less expands, and we expand it even more after that until it bursts. I'm kidding. We're not here to burst your brain. Anyways, let's continue. So, Mr. Nkosi intends to buy his first house for 1,450,000. Yeah, that's some money. He approached two financial institutions. Remember? Have people who are finance companies or a bank. In simple, he approached two banks to compare loan amounts between the two. Refer to the table below and answer the questions that follow. So we have a lot of questions here, as you can see. We're going to deal with them accordingly. Now, the bank recommends that your bond monthly repayment, which for Investec it's 11,000. Okay, it's also 11,000 for F&B. Not exceed 30% of your gross monthly income. So they don't want what you are paying as your monthly repayment to exceed 30% of your gross monthly income. That's what they request as a bank. What will Mr. Nkosi's gross salary have to be to get a loan from Investec? So here it sounds tricky, but it's not tricky. You see, now they didn't give you Mr. Nkosi's gross income so that you can actually check whether 30% exceeds 11,000. No, they did not do that. But then you should be asking yourself this. If they didn't give me the income, then how am I supposed to calculate how much his gross income is supposed to be? Oh, okay. Simple. If they had given us his salary, we're going to say 30% over 100 multiplied by his salary and check that is this monthly greater than what he is earning. But because they did not give us, therefore, what are we supposed to do? Well, I'm glad you asked that. What are we supposed to do? Because they didn't give us. Simple. We are going to come here. And when we come here, we are going to do something that maybe you might not have seen, maybe you might have seen, but it's not that hard. Instead of saying 30 over 100, change of plans, 100 over 80. Multiply by, if they have given us, we'll use 30 above and then below we'll use 100, but they haven't given us. So now we say 100 over 30 multiplied by 11,489.79. Let's see what we get. Nope. We said 100 over 30. I feel I need to make a separate video that deals with percentages only, how to work around percentages. So we're actually getting that it's 38,299. So he should be earning this or above. But they said that round off your answer to the nearest 10,000. Again, I made a video separately. And I told you, those are must-watches video. Your ratios, your conversions, your transposing, those are changing subject of the form. Those are must-watch videos. You must watch those videos before you even try to get into the content such as finance, data handling, and everything. So here, rounding off to the nearest 10,000, this particular amount, if you still do not understand how to round off, go watch that video. Particular amount is supposed to become 40,000. 40,000. Go watch the video. Don't even ask me, say how. Go watch the video. Now, 2.1.2. Determine the total setup costs A for Investec option. So for Investec option, we have setup costs. So we have initiation, bond registration, bond transfer. So to determine the total, obviously we have to add all of these and we'll get this. So now let's come here. So we are going to say that 6,037.50 plus 29,280 plus 20,432.50. What does it give us? So let's see. 6,037.50 plus 29,280 plus 20,000. 20,432.50. What do we get? We actually get that the total setup cost for Investec is 55,750. So it's 5,750. Don't get confused. This is for 2.1.1 and this one is for 2.1.2. And now for 2.1.3, what are we being asked here for 2.1.3? So let's say 2.1.3. Now for 2.1.3, the question is, when buying a property, you may add all the setup costs, such as we have done, to the purchase price of that particular house to get the loan amount. Okay. So they're saying that we can add the loan amount with the setup costs and then we are going to get our answer. They're telling us what to do to determine the value of B. The loan amount for Investec, if the house is listed for 1,450,000. So basically what we are supposed to do here, we take our setup costs, we add them to the loan amount and we are going to get, we add them to the price of the house and we are going to get our loan amount. So let's say here we are going to say that 55, because we have already done it, 55,750, which is the setup cost. We add it to the price of the house, which is 1,450,000. They are saying that by doing this we are going to get the loan amount, the amount that he needs to get from the bank. So let's come here. Okay, it's already here. Let's just say 1,450,000. It says that the loan amount becomes 1,505,750. That's what stays here at option B. It's 1,505,750. Now that we have the loan amount, we have to continue 2.1.4. The service fee is 69 rands. But if you actually read here on the monthly service fee, it says that it's not applicable if loan is paid from personal account. So they are saying that if you are paying this from your personal account, you do not have to pay the 69 rands. You only pay the 69 rands under Investec if you are paying it from other accounts. But if you're paying it from the personal account, don't worry about the 69 rands. So now let's see. So the service fee 69 rands is not charged by Investec to Mr. Nkosi if his loan is paid from his personal account. Still saying the same thing. What have they say? What do they say? How much money will he save as Investec over the total period of the loan? So if he's paying from his personal account, obviously he will have to save. Remember, we are going to say this much multiplied by the months that he has to pay for the overall loan, which is, told you already how to deal with this. So you can simply say 20 multiplied by 12. Let's see how many months are those. 20 multiplied by 12. This is how much he has to save. So it's 240 months. So it's 69 multiplied by 240 months. He will have to save, let's say, multiplied by 69. And don't when you see me interchanging numbers, you see here, I already had 240, but here 240 is here. Okay, I guess maybe we'll have to do this. But here's one thing that I need you to understand. With regards to multiplication and addition, you can interchange numbers however you want to interchange them. It's not going to affect what you are doing. You can't do that with division and subtraction. What I mean is this. 2 plus 3 is equals to 5. But the same thing, 3 plus 2 is equals to 5. We have interchanged the position of 2 and 3, but it does not affect us. Why? Because we are dealing with addition only. Multiplication, 2 multiplied by 4 is equals to 8. 4 multiplied by 2 is also equal to 8. We have interchanged the position of 2 and 4, but it does not affect the answer. Why? Because we are dealing with multiplication. Meaning that for addition and multiplication, you can interchange numbers however you want. You are still not going to be affected. You can't do that with subtraction and division because it's going to completely change the integrity of the whole formula. Yeah, had to say that, apparently. Anyways, let's take it out of the way. Take it out of the way. Take it out of the way. So that's why sometimes you can see on my calculator, I have 240 and I just multiply by 69. But when I have written it here, I started by 69 and I was supposed to multiply by 240. It will give you the same answers. Now, let's continue. Where were we? So this is how much he's going to save if he pays from his personal account, because then he doesn't have to pay this much. And then B is asking, okay, B is asking. So B, they're asking us, if Mr. Nkosi does not pay his loan from his personal account, how would this impact him financial? Well, he's going to save, or he's not going to lose. He will save 16,560, or someone can say he's not going to lose. He's not going to lose 16,560, but that's what's going to happen. And now let's go to 2.1.5. We are happy here. By now, if you've been following the channel, that when you see such marks, you should be excited. I'm sure you are dancing or something, but you are doing something that shows that you're happy. Don't be crying. Okay, you can cry. It's fine. Anyway, let's continue. So, Mr. Nkosi states that if he buys his house through Investec and pays from his personal account, if he buys the house through Investec and also gets to save 16,560, he will save more money on interest. Money on interest, that's an interesting concept. And monthly service fees by the time the loan is paid in full. So he's saying simple that if he pays his money from Investec and also he pays it from his personal account, he's going to save money on interest and monthly service fees by the time the loan is all paid in full. What he's trying to do here, or what he's saying here, if he says he saves money, against what is he saving money? So basically, you are supposed to compare Investec option and FNB option to see that indeed does he save money if he pays from his personal account through Investec. Now let's do our calculation. What's the first thing? As you can tell, they didn't give you a formula here. The first thing that you are supposed to do is to calculate the monthly repayments. So we are going to start with the monthly repayment for Investec. So I'm going to write here Investec. Investec, then we'll continue with F&B. So for Investec, we are going to start with the monthly repayment. So each and every month, he's supposed to pay 11,489.79. For how long? For 240 months. How much does that become? So if he pays 11,489.79 for 240 months, we actually get that he pays 2 million, yes, 757,549.6. That's the first thing. Remember, he's paying from his personal account. So this saves him money because he doesn't have to pay the monthly service fee. Then what's the next thing that we do? Because we are calculating interest, we are going to take the amount of money that he has paid throughout this whole loan, and we are going to subtract exactly how much he got. Like how much they borrowed him, like the loan amount, because that's the money that they gave to him at the end of the day. So we are going to say that this 2 million, right? 2,757,549.6, subtracting what they gave to him. This is what he pays back. But what did they give to him? Well, they actually gave him 1,505,750. This is the loan amount that they gave to him. So let's see exactly what interest at the end of the day was he charged. So 1,505,750. Let's see. Oh, was actually charged 1 million in interest. 251,799.6. That is for what? That is for Investec. Now let's continue and find out what happens with regards to F&B. So let's go to F&B. I'm actually going to use my gold. Okay, I didn't say you should do that, but my gold either way. My gold. Cometh thou here. F&B. Again, start with what? With monthly installments. So monthly installments, we are going to say that, here they've simplified it for us. Instead of giving it to us in years, they've given to us in particularly in. And don't be like, why did we get this 240? No, we got this 240 because remember, we've already solved that 20 years here. 20 years, it's actually 240 months. So don't be like, okay, 240. Well, we're calculating F&B. No, we're not calculating F&B. We're calculating Investec. 20 years is equals to 240 months. So here they've done it for us. So we are simply going to say that 11,577.17 when you multiply it by 240, what do you get? So let's see, 11,577.17 when you multiply it by 240, what do you get? You actually get 2,778,520.80. But there is no option of not paying 69 rands here. Whether personal or not personal, you pay. F&B does not play like that. Yeah? We're not here to play. We need the 69 rands. Yeah, we need it. So we do the same thing here. 69 rands. When you multiply it by the amount of months that he'll be paying for, what do you get? So let's see. 69 rands multiplied by 240. You'll actually be paying. You see, the 16,560. That you didn't actually get to pay the other side. Yeah, you come to F&B, they do not play like that. Yeah, they want that. They want that 16,560 here. And then let's add these together because this becomes our money that we will have paid at the end of the loan so that we can subtract the actual loan amount. So let's come here. Okay. Okay, it's fine. Let's go down here. So we're going to use this. So let's say that 2,778,520.8 plus these fees. What do you get? Remember, by now you know. I told you that you can do that. You are allowed to do that. 520.8. What do you get? It actually becomes 2,795,080.8. This is what he would have paid at the end of the loan. But how much interest did he actually get to pay? Then we have to subtract by the loan amount. Let's go and check the loan amount. It was given us. The loan amount was actually 1,520,172. So it was 1,520,000. Was it 520,000? Let's see. Yes, 172. 172. Let's see. Just say subtract 1,520,172. Oh, they actually also charged him in interest 1,274,908.80. Now, we are not done. Yeah, this is a long step. We are not done because they said determine showing all calculations whether Mr. Nkosi will save if he chooses Investec. So we have to subtract the two and see if indeed he saved. But by now we can actually tell that he saved. Why? Because F&B in interest, he paid 1,274,000. Investec in interest, he paid 1,251,000. But how much did he save? So save. How much did he save? We are going to say F&B 1,274,000, which he has to pay back 0.8, subtracting what he has to pay back for Investec, which is 799.6. Let's see, we already had the 1,274,000 here. Let's just subtract the 1,251,799.6. What do we get? We actually get that he saved 23,109.2. 23,109.2. That, beings of human, that's how we work with regards to hire purchases and everything that is involved around hire purchasing and installments and everything. So, that was just about that. Thank you for tuning in. Subscribe and share. And while you are at it, make sure that you have a question paper by your side and you're practicing. More practice. You have to put more practice than I am doing. If I am doing 3 extracts, you have to do 6 extracts. If I'm doing 5 extracts, you have to do 10 extracts. So you have to go back to previous question papers, look for more questions that have higher purchases, and do even more papers. By doing so, you'll be doing yourself justice. Yes, justice for you. Thank you. Keep up.